be around.
Please
if
talk
there's
to them
other
at lunch,
people.
yes.
There's other people, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Good time. And now we have our newest farm in Texas, Dan's Gulf Coast Oyster Company. And Eduardo Kalhofer is going to give us a little presentation of what's going on with Dan's. Floor's all yours. You can click it here if you want. Which one? Left or right?
Hey, how are you? My name is Eduardo Kalhofer. I'm the son of Andy Kalhofer and David Kalhofer, nephew of David Kalhofer. They're the founders of Dan Gulf Coast Oysters, and I'm coming here in representation of them. We're a family-owned farm since 2023. This dream started in about, we can say it's a long time dream for Andy and David. They love seafood, right? As probably most of us. This is a picture. You can see Andy is right here on the white, and David is on the pink shirt right there. That's back in 2016. The farm comes from the name Dan's Oysters. Is their brother and my uncle, Daniel Kalhofer, who was an entrepreneur in the Galveston area. If you guys have ever been to the Bolivar Peninsula, you've probably been to the big store. He was the founder of that store. So Andy and David, they inherited a piece of land down in the Bolivar Peninsula, and this is back in 2016 on a spring break, where we found out there's a lot of oysters that grow in the area. That bucket is full of oysters, and we enjoyed a nice dinner. So it wasn't until it became legal in Texas in 2019 that we started pursuing this dream. But in around 2021, 22 is when we started learning more about it, as probably most of us did. Started watching a bunch of YouTube videos of how everything from the life cycle of oysters to the new oyster scene in Texas. I would be at home and I would be watching videos downstairs late at night. My uncle would be sending me social media stuff also on oysters. It was mostly learning, right? I don't know if you would call it labor at first, but then it became when we actually started applying for permits. Once we realized that, once Andy and David realized that the lake, that's a picture of the lake right there, it was better to grow oysters from 1 millimeter to 1 inch. We started trying to get our nursery permit, and we became nursery number 5, which allowed us to grow the oysters, and that permit took around 1 year to acquire. At this beginning stages, it was mostly office work. Learning as we go, emails, applying for the permits. Our goal is basically to capitalize off the lake by growing the oyster seeds and sell it to other farmers. This nursery setup is mostly working with flopsy systems, which is the big square that you see in the middle of the lake. The good thing about this is that we will be able to raise these oysters from 1 millimeter to 1 inch without doing too much, wasting too much labor and time. It's a little bit more effortless because we don't have to go offshore. However, this flopsy system was not viable at first because the water and electricity setup would have been too costly. We would have had to run a water and electricity line from all the way in the corner to where the flopsies would be. And so while we tested the waters, we requested in our permits to get a temporary upholder system. These trials were labor intensive. These photographs are for the decks that will give space for the tanks. We built everything from the decks. This is the first space of the deck that gave space for 2 tanks. Those are the 2 tanks right there. This is an extension of the deck. We built everything from the silos to the pipe systems to the decks. This is a picture from the first batch of seed. These seedlings were much like a human baby. They require a lot of attention. They must be cleaned every other day, if not every day. And we also experience challenges like salinity drops from the storms. Oh, the cleaning, right. This is the picture from when we first cleaned the oysters. The middle one is the oysters once already cleaned. They're filter feeders. So you can see, it's very interesting to see once you put the oysters in the silos, how they filter all the water, and the water gets completely transparent. And we also have to drain these tanks. These oysters are kind of messy, so you can see maybe once or twice a week we drain all the tanks and take all that out. And yeah, like I was saying, the challenges, the salinity drops from the storms. When we were first starting out, we were told that the oysters are better in salinity levels from 10 to 18 parts per thousand. However, when we first wanted to do our first batch, storm barrel just hit, and our salinity was about 7 parts per thousand. So it was really discouraging. We didn't even know if it was gonna go back. For a couple days to stay as low as 7. And we saw that entering this industry as a relatively new operation required a lot of willingness to take risks and overcome steep learning curves. We stayed consistent and strong and waited. We saw how the salinity was going up slowly. And I think we put the oysters at around 9 parts per thousand. And now we're seeing the oysters grow really good. With yesterday having salinity at 17.7. So that was really good. Another reason why we're going with the flopsies right now is, with the flopsies in the future, is because the upper tanks, unlike the flopsies, like I was telling you, we have to drain them constantly because of the accumulation of impurities. So far the flopsies seem more efficient than the uploaders. As you can see, this is sort of what we're aiming for the flopsies. And right here is a picture of us actually building the flopsies that we will be using. While working on the nursery pyramid, we also noticed that we might not be able to sell all of our seed to other farmers, and we needed to do something about it. So we wanted to put them to good use, and this is when we started applying for a grower permit. After a little more than a year, this one took a little bit more than the nursery permit, we became grower permitted. Now we're grower permit number 16, and as you can see over in the red, that's our nursery area, and on the green, that's where we just got the permit for our grow outside. And so our main focus is to, like I was telling you, try to grow the oyster seeds from really small 1 millimeter to an inch, being able to grow these oysters with not so much labor, not so much, making sure that they are a good price point for other farmers. Make sure and help out because most of the other farmers try to grow, buy at 6 millimeters and then grow it all the way to market size. Or we can save you guys that amount of money from that takes and labor, going offshore, flipping cages. And with the flopsies, that's what we're aiming for. And basically, that's the overstock would go to the grow side. And hopefully, the nursery side will also become a hatchery. These are pictures from when we had to apply for the grower permit, topographic maps that we had to provide, some drawings that we also had to do. It was a lot of learning as we go, learning more than just, it was just like filling out forms, learning coordinates, making sure, my dad taught me a little bit about coordinates, and we also learned as we went some software to do the maps. This is a picture of us actually taking the seafloor samples, kind of like the mud that Lindsay was talking about. So yeah, permits are also a little bit labor intensive. And lastly, for our future plans, They're to start a hatchery to avoid depending on the only AAA hatcheries in Mississippi and Alabama, because going back and forth for every batch of seed is not really that efficient. In addition, having control over the whole life cycle will give us the opportunity to learn about the oysters we're raising. And in the future, we aspire to work along educational institutions like Texas A&M or any other local schools to use the farm as a research and training institution facility and create awareness about ecosystems and sustainability. In conclusion, this business has been high risk, high reward. A strong team has been crucial throughout the process, and we're thankful for our advisors like Mario Marquez and Lindsay Campbell for their guidance, and we're also thankful for the organizers of this conference. Feel free to approach myself or anyone in my team with any questions and advice. Thank you so much. Any questions?
On that last picture, was that a restaurant y'all had out there? Yeah, on those
No,
tables
it's,
so we can eat them?
we can say it's like a dream for the Galveston area.
We might open up a oyster bar on the place.
Oyster bar, research institution, training.
That's the way we're gonna sell them.
Nice.
Can? At $1.50.
Where did you get your nursery equipment design, and what vendor did you use for most of your nursery equipment?
So the design, it was inspired from everything that we learned online. We were actually going for, we're researching different things that we could do. We were trying to do bottle silos at one point, but the design exactly, what was it from?
We first saw our uploaders in PMAR.
Marque?
And
Yeah.
we saw the design, when we saw the cost of the upwellers, oscillating between $10,000 and $15,000 a table, we decided to build our own. That was made homemade by us from a fiberglass shop here in Galveston. And to give you an idea,